However, I think when we are not conscious of the environments we're in, the people we're about to see, what it takes to get there, we can have unintentional power leaks and that are damaging to the relationships and can stop a relationship before it even begins.
In today's episode of the Black Woman Leading Podcast, we are talking about rewiring the way we think about relationships with Mecca Anderson. If you have ever believed that being a natural connector is a gift some people have and others simply don't, if you did not realize that most relationships don't end because of conflict, they end because of neglect, and if you are ready to understand why relationships are your most powerful professional strategy, especially right now in these times, then you need to keep listening. Let's get into it. This podcast amplifies the needs and experiences of Black women leaders in the workplace with a holistic focus on 3 core areas: leadership development, mental wellness, and relationship management. Our ultimate aim is to help Black women learn, heal, and grow in their leadership capacity. Black woman leading. Before we jump into this episode, I wanted to let you know that registration is now open for the August 2026 cohorts of both our early career and mid-career leadership development programs. No matter where you are on your career journey, our programs are designed to support your holistic development, wellness, and career growth. Now, our mid-career program is designed for mid and senior level leaders, and it focuses on building strategic leadership skills and developing a customized career strategy in this phase of your career. Our early career program is a training program that's designed to strengthen the foundational leadership competencies needed to grow and to step into leadership. Now, of course, both programs will center your mental wellness and self-care and also provide a culturally relevant lens for you to do your personal and professional development work. The amazing thing about the transformative experience you have while in Black Woman Leading programs is that it's not over after you finish your program. We are invested in a long-term relationship with you. So upon completing our core programs, you become a part of our alumni community, and we host ongoing events throughout the year. With us, you are not just completing another professional development program. You are joining a community of support that's there with you for the long run. If you want to explore how to register for one of our programs, visit our website at www.blackwomanleading.com to get all the details. There you can review our programs, sign up for an info session, or schedule a one-on-one call with a member of our team. We'd love to welcome you to the Black Woman Leading community, and we love to support you in this season of your career. So welcome everyone. Today in this episode of the Black Woman Leading Podcast, we're talking about rewiring the way we think about relationships with Mecca Anderson. Hey, Mecca.
Hi, Laura. Thank you for having me.
Welcome. I'm so excited to get into this. We're going to get into all of the goodness here, but first let me give you the official about Mecca. Professor Mecca Anderson is a lawyer, entrepreneur, educator, and speaker with more than 15 years of experience spanning civil litigation, criminal prosecution, judicial service, legal entrepreneurship, and higher education. As both a practicing attorney and law professor, she brings a rare perspective shaped by courtrooms, classrooms, boardrooms, and communities across Georgia. Whether advocating for injured clients, teaching future lawyers, speaking to audiences, or mentoring professionals, she explores the intersection of relationships, professionalism, leadership, and human behavior, helping others build careers and lives grounded in trust, purpose, and meaningful connection. So you can see why this is perfect for this season. And I love just the legal aspect that you bring to this as well, and the teaching aspect you bring to this. So why I wanted to get into this, when we had our intro call and just hearing about the approach you take to teaching law students about relationships, right, in ways that affect not only their professional lives, but also as lawyers, how they are also kind of leading, guiding, influencing outcomes for people. And I said, well, this is a perspective for the season to have. So I'm super excited. I want to get into it and your perspective from your unique background. Yeah. But before we jump into talking about rewiring and all that, I ask all of our guests this question. What does the phrase Black woman leading mean to you? And we shared a little bit about your bio, but give us just a little bit of the unscripted of how you have come to this place to do the work these days.
My answer to what Black women leading means to me and to where my life is personally and professionally right now is at an intersection rooted in this time that we're in right now. We are under what I would call a regime that is intending and succeeding in some ways and exacting retribution on the 92%, of which I imagine most of your members and guests are and followers are part of. And to me, Black women have always been the healers of the community. We take care of literally everybody. And we tried to warn everybody about what was to come. Now we're here. And what do? Usually, as Black women leading, we start to take care of everybody and continue. I think now it's time to stop doing so much and to focus and to respond to the time that we're in right now, and that we need to lead with ourselves and one another first. And then let's get ourselves where we need to be.
Focus our energy on us.
Each, yes. And then we'll be ready to come back and save the world again, as we always do, right? And whether that's at the polls or whether it's at work. And so I'm letting this time dictate the way I'm showing up personally and professionally. So that's why after the last presidential election, I decided I didn't want my professional life to look the way it was. I wanted to respond to the time. And so I started to practice differently and then to become a professor and teach young and new law students, people new to the profession of any age, how to practice law in an ethical way, and to train them up right.
Because it's needed.
Especially again, being
now.
Responsive to the time that we're in. And I chose to go to an institution where there is a large percentage of Black women matriculating. As a matter of fact, Atlanta's John Marshall Law School graduates more Black women attorneys than any other law school in the state.
Really?
So that's why I said, okay, impact. I still practice.
This is good. Tell us a little bit. So we know you got to pivot. You're doing some teaching. But tell us about kind of this journey, and you got other new pivots coming up. Tell us a little bit about what led you to do this work.
So, I would say probably like many of your guests and followers, we spend time planning our career out, right? So every couple of years, I'll sit down and do a career map, assess where I'm at and where I want to go in the next however many years. And so at that time, after Kamala lost, which I just felt was a seismic shift, I could just sense, even before January, and we got into
coming.
Yes, and how I wanted to respond to the moment, what I wanted to do. So that's why I decided to be a law professor, but then practice differently too. Take the time out of my practice to contribute, to give back, but still building up for what it is that I really do, which is a practitioner of law. So I'm actually joining a law firm right now as well. But every decision that I'm making, whether it's for volunteering, who I'm mentoring, where my money is going to, what causes, are all centered around Black women.
Yeah, I love it. So you mentioned you're practicing attorney specializing in catastrophic personal injury. Injury, not industry, injury.
Which is an industry, yes.
And you've also spent 14 years with the Georgia Association of Black Women Attorneys, which I think is really powerful, and serving as a dean of the Professional Development Academy there. That's a career built in spaces where relationships are everything, right? Which is, I think, so key for this season. How has law and the practice of law and being just immersed in the world of law shaped the way you think about human connection and relationships?
It absolutely does in every way. When I went to law school, they say it changes the way you think, and I embrace that, and I embrace being an attorney and the responsibility that we have in that role. One of my best and closest mentors, Georgia Supreme Court Justice Robert Benham, now retired, told me when I was a law student that lawyers, like pastors and like doctors, are healers in our community.
Wow. That's a perspective.
And a duty that he basically put upon me. And made it really a contingent. If I was not going to embrace that duty, he would not mentor me, basically, was what I understood him to say.
Wow.
And that I needed to see our role that way, and to see us as healers of the community. What do we really do every day as lawyers? Well, we solve problems.
Yeah.
I don't care what kind of lawyer you are, corporate, tax, whatever it is, it's still ultimately solving problem. And no matter what it is, there's always somebody, a person at the bottom of that, right? So I let that inform everything you just read about being at the Georgia Association of Black Women Attorneys, being a dean and teaching young lawyers, taking that role of upholding our profession very seriously. I mean, the law, unlike other professions, is self-governing, right? We're licensed in the state of Georgia by other attorneys, by our licensing board here. That's a duty. That means you have to self-police. Well, how do you do that on the front end? Train them up the way they need to go. So to answer your question about the relationships, well, I entered in a mind of service. To whom much is given, much is required. I stepped up because I went through the Professional Development Academy. It was transformative for my growth and who I met there. And then I just served, and I continued to serve. And frankly, the pedagogy that I developed at that time is the same thing that I take to the law school now.
That's powerful. Okay. So I want to dig a little bit more into this healer. That's the first time I've ever heard that. Tell me a little bit more about the frame of that, right? I know it's some problem solving. Is it around kind of setting things right? Is the justice piece of it? What's that healer part that you connected with from your mentor?
Yeah, so Justice Benham, when he practiced, did not practice in catastrophic personal injury law. And at the time he told me that, I didn't know what area I was going to go into. I just knew that I needed to be looking to heal. Looking to be of service. Very few lawyers are called on a day when everything is going right. I would imagine those are lotto lawyers or adoption lawyers.
Lotto lawyers.
Right.
Nice.
I would love to call that lawyer.
Yes.
But the majority of us are called when something is really bad. And sometimes, especially for my clients, the worst it could ever be. And so before I'm an attorney or before I'm a lawyer, I'm a counselor. I have to show up as a mother, a woman, an understanding person, so that I can really understand what happened to them and then tell their story to a jury, to insurance companies, or whomever, needs to hear how we can heal what happened, this bad thing that happened to them.
Yeah, and part of it is like you can't, get back whatever they lost.
No.
Right, but in what ways can we make some restitution? Can we make whatever challenges they're going to have as a result of this accident or injury make their life smoother? So I could definitely connect to that healing. As a social worker by trade, right, there is a lot of language around our training around healing, and from a justice standpoint too, and from a social justice standpoint. So there's a lot of resonance there. But that's the first time I ever heard that.
Well, and I think it's up to us to take on that burden, to step into that role. Certainly there are some practice areas or professions that naturally lend themselves to that, right? But I think it depends on what your calling is and what kind of lawyer you want to be, or what kind of professional you want to be, or really what kind of Black woman in the way you want to be, in the way you want to lead.
Yeah, across whatever industry.
Across whatever.
Right? Yeah, that's good. That's good. Now, you made a significant pivot in 2020. And you alluded to this a little bit, but I always love to pull the lessons from the real life experiences from our Black women leading that are guests here, because we view you all as a possibility model for people who are listening, watching. You took a sabbatical. You returned to academia and started to teach, which you talked about a little bit. Now you're joining a new firm. You're taking on some new roles. What did that season of reassessment teach you about yourself? Because you said, okay, some things changed. And you even added the layer of after Kamala, right? So this was even before you were kind of doing some things. What did that season of reassessment again teach you about yourself, but what did it also teach you about the relationships in your life?
Kamala's loss for me was the last straw.
Yeah.
So to your point, I had already been like something ain't right, in about 2000.
Something have to shift
here.
Yeah,
like I don't like this day to day, and I started just paying attention. I think we all probably went through that to some degree during the pandemic, during 2020, and whatever that meant to us individually. So the rumblings started then.
Yeah.
But as it relates to relationships, it's funny you say that, because it was working with lawyers I didn't want to work with. People who I should never have worked with.
Oh, wow.
And deciding in this day and time, this is not where I need to be. This is not the right environment for me. And being firm about that. And that's a hard thing to do, right? Is to make some firm decisions based on ethics, values, being seen. How do I want to show up? Being in an environment that was not conducive to my well-being, and therefore I wasn't even able to practice that well.
Wow.
But it was very empowering, Laura, to be able to say, you know what, this is not for me.
This is not it. And I think too, I really like you giving voice to, like, it's hard, especially when you established. You're not new to this. You've been doing this stuff for a while. You got this thing settled. You got a life built around it. It's kind of upending a lot of things that disruption, while it might be an enlightenment, and we've talked about different people on the episodes who've had that moment of like, this ain't gonna work for me, across different industries. While it is an enlightenment and it is empowering, it's also disruptive.
It's disruptive, it's fearful, and I want to be vulnerable and tell you, I was worried what people would think. A person who usually prides herself on, I only care what my mama and my baby think.
Okay.
Right? But what actually, I plumbed the depths a little bit there and realized, well, this was a short stint. It looks one-off. You know what I mean?
Does it look like I'm flighty or flaky? All those kind of things.
I don't have anything to take from this experience to say, look, necessarily. Let me take that back, because I do think finances is important too.
Of course.
Which leads us to the ability to make those types of decisions.
Yeah.
Because if you're not able to, then you got to stay there.
And we got some folks that's having to sacrifice. We talk about this in Black Women Lead It, that are having to plot the pivot, but linger until they get to that point, because of they need to have some stability, financial stability.
It's so well. And here's the thing about relationships, though. It depends on the nature and status of your relationships. Because if you're in community regularly and things aren't going well, there should be a group of professionals around you, your first circle, let's say, that you should be able to start putting rumblings out there for opportunities. I think what breaks my heart is when I find out that now we're in a situation that is not good, that you need to leave, and you haven't followed up with a mentor. You don't have a network, you don't belong to an org, there's nothing, and you out here, trying to convince new people who don't know you to hire you in a downturn. I mean, let's be clear. We're in a downturn.
A million people going for that same role. And we know with the layoff situation, there's a lot of Black women in this now, and the relationships, those who have the relationships are tapping into those. We just had our annual conference not too long ago, and we had a whole session talking about people who are skill stacking. So they may not be doing what their role was, but because people know them for their areas of expertise, their skills, even intangible skills, they're reaching out to their network and getting new opportunities. That's a completely different title or role or industry, but it's from those relationships and people knowing kind of the receipts of the type of quality that they bring, that they're able to tap in. And so,
Laura, that's happening to me literally as we speak right now.
Wow.
So, for example, I told you I went back into academia, right? Well, not only am I a law professor, I also took a role as a director in the law school. I did that on purpose because, to your point, and what you guys are talking about, I noticed a gap, a deficiency in my skills. I had never built an organization. I know where I want to go.
Yeah.
That's a empty spot. I've led teams. I've led big teams.
Yeah.
I've led projects, but I've never put some structure into anything.
Kind of built it from
that part.
Yeah.
And I have a business, but it's just me. I'm a
Yeah,
solopreneur, right? So I thought this is something that I'm going to need.
That's good.
Because I'm going to scale. I know my life is going to scale. So I need to get this skill. So that's what I've done for the next year. And then at the intersection of what'd you call it? Skill stacking?
Yeah, skill
stacking and relationships. The move that I'm making right from this, that I'll announce to you as soon as I can, is going to do the same thing, build up an organization, which I just learned how to skill stack and do,
Yes.
with friends, people who were my mentors.
I just got a little cheer because I just need to pause and distill this for somebody that's listening, because this is a powerful, powerful lesson here. Take us back to when you did this skills gap assessment. Like, what was did it just pop in your head, or did you do some type of strategic exercise where you were like, I got this, got years of experience, but this thing I don't have, and that's needed for what I want to do. What did that exercise look like for you? Because somebody need to do that right now.
Oh, yes. Well, and frankly, part of it is my personality is highly critical, particularly of myself.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So I think I'm just always paying attention to myself. My daughter jokes that, when I tell her that she's beautiful, that I say that because I'm her mother. Not true.
Yeah.
I am able to see the truth. Right. Listen, I can be biased and love you.
Was challenged.
Mommy would say, you are going to be something one day. I would not say that.
Right.
And so what I'm telling you, why I give you that story, Laura, is to say, no, I'm really honest with myself and with others and with my assessment. And so I'm just looking at myself regularly and assessing myself regularly as a way of being. Second to that, though, I watch your show a lot and similar shows, and I get a ton of inspiration by the women who I say, that's interesting. Maybe I want to try that. And it may not be in the specific field, but maybe they're starting a nonprofit. They're doing this thing. Let me think about that. And I listen to how they got there. And again, do an analysis right in the moment as I'm watching, like, ooh, I don't know how to do that.
Yes. And so it speaks to curiosity. It speaks to lifelong learning, but it speaks to honesty, right? One of the exercises we have our participants do, and it's so it's before our program start. They do it both in our early career and our program for mid and senior level leaders. It's a personal SWOT analysis.
Yes.
And we have them to think about, what is the big vision you have for yourself? Even if it feels, some people it might be just that next role. For other people, it might be something really big that feels far away. We tell them to get that in their mind, and there's a couple of reflection prompts to help them to think about that. And then we say, looking at yourself honestly, do a SWOT analysis on your trajectory towards that thing. What are your strengths that's going to support you to do that? What are your weaknesses that if you don't mitigate them, they could derail your path? What are the opportunities you already see, and what are the threats? And they do that reflection exercise, and their very first coaching session is the coach saying, all right, let's see what we get to work with here. But I think if we can make that a practice, and I love what you said. You did that back then in 2020 when you were making the pivot.
Correct.
You're doing it now as you're about to step into a new role. That this is an iterative process.
Yes.
This is not like when I did that plan that one time when I was graduating from school. This is like at each season really assessing where I am. But what it requires, and what I'm picking up for you, is that it requires an eye to the future.
Yes.
What you trying to do, boo?
I don't know. Everything.
Right.
But thank you for walking me through that, because every example that you gave about what you asked them to think about, I just did it as I was listening to you in my mind. So I know some of the things that I want to do in the future. Like, for example, I knew I wanted to run an organization, or that I was going to need to know how to run an organization. Where did I get that from, Laura? God, I don't know. Just a feeling, really. Just maybe paying attention to when I see other people do things and there's a little rumbling. And that's extremely far away from the practice of law. And I am a litigator, and that is part of my identity almost, in a way. I love being a litigator. But when an opportunity came, I didn't know that my dream role as a CEO, which is what I'm working on now, was coming or when it would come. I just knew that I would need that skill.
Girl, I'm a pass a collection plate. Because this is if you can see it, you can be it.
Yeah.
Stay ready so you don't have to get ready. Like all these different things. And I love a song by Molly Music. He says it's called Walking, and I'm going to mess up the lyrics. But it's the thing is, I don't know kind of what I'm walking towards, but I'm going to meet it halfway, and I'm going to figure it out. I just need to be moving in that direction. I'm going to meet it halfway if I keep on walking. Like, I don't even know what the thing is, but it's something about, and I love that you talked about what when you hear things, when you see things, you get that little tingle. Because that's about some intuition. That's about being in connection with yourself. That's about your spiritual journey that may feel very soft and fluffy, but you're literally connecting that to a real opportunity.
And
right
it's
now.
all connected. So, for example, the women that I see that give me that rumbling, I may stop and I don't know these people. Okay, they can be anywhere in the country. I may stop and just write a little handwritten note. Hey, girl, I see you.
Yes,
you did that. Thanks for the inspo.
Yeah.
I don't want anything.
Yeah.
That's just a deposit that I'm putting in the universe. That's part of my gratitude practice with my God, is to recognize other, particularly Black women, because that is my focus right now, and what they're doing, and to just give them a atta girl from 100 miles away.
Yeah, I love that.
With no expectation at all in return. Yeah. But that is the way I think we lead. So that's one part of it.
That's good.
Another part of what you brought out was, remember when I left in 2020, I thought I can't work for this type of environment, for this type of people. Well, if I don't want to work for this type of people, that means I'm going to have to end up doing my own thing.
Yeah.
Well, if I'm a healer, then that means I'm going to have to do things the way I want to do them and need them. Well, that means I'm going to have to run everything.
Yeah.
So what do I need to get? The skill building. And I think that may be the part of the nexus, a part of the little spider web that's going on inside.
Yeah. But it starts with a vision at the end of the day. And we talk about in Black Woman Leading that it's really revolutionary for Black women to make space to vision. I mean, even if you think about like our living ancestors. I think about my own mama, my own mother-in-law, right? That my mom is 76 years old. She recently, because of a vision and a dream she had, relocated here to Georgia.
Oh, you're so lucky.
But I think about when she tells me her story from earlier when I wasn't even here, some of it so early I wasn't even thought about. She ain't had time to be visioning.
No.
Homegirl was surviving, trying to make it.
Yes.
And so to have the privilege, and we know it's a privilege,
Absolutely.
right? To be able to sit and to be in a space where you're beyond just surviving, that you can start to think about what would it mean for me to thrive.
You said the word revolutionary, and I don't know if you heard, just jump out of me immediately. First of all, I'm from Oakland, California, so that word is quite positively triggering for me. I love everything about the word revolution and revolutionary and what it means. Also, what's revolutionary is for us as Black women to think about ourselves first, even if we can't act on it.
Say that one more time. That's powerful.
So many times, something will come up in our mind and we'll immediately dismiss why we can't do it for someone else. Let me give you an example. Let's say one of your viewers wants to skill set.
Yeah.
And immediately their first thought is, well, I can't take that class because I got to get the kids from daycare.
Yeah. Or I don't have the money for it, or
whatever it is.
Yeah.
We immediately go to why we cannot. What I would like to see Black women do that I believe is revolutionary is to stop right there and just sit with I want to, that thing.
That's good.
Just stay right there for a minute. Hang out right there.
Yes.
Let that permeate, sit. Maybe when you jump to the next level of money or other responsibilities, maybe it is not right now.
Yeah.
But I'll be honest with you, I think oftentimes it actually can be right now.
Yes.
But that we already edit out, why we can't do it.
Or the alternate paths that a little research or some conversations may help us to explore.
Or our absolute stronghold
Yes.
that our roles have on us. That for you to take that class or whatever we're talking about is in some way taking away from your ability to be a great mom, a great spouse, a great employee, a daughter caretaking, whatever it is. And we are so married to those roles. And I think if we plumbed that a little bit more, we would see that we often, myself included, have used those roles as an excuse not to just even, like I said, do the revolutionary act of looking at ourselves first.
You snatching edges today, ma'am. Woo! Let me talk a little bit about the title of the episode. Is rewiring, which I think is really provocative. So when you say rewiring, kind of how we think about relationships, what does that mean? And why do so many of us need to rethink our fundamental approach to building relationships, especially in our professional spaces?
Oh, and it starts with I'll leave off of what we just talked about, right? Which is the first thought of our relationship with ourselves and even considering ourselves, right? But let me speak to your broader audience because some ladies are able to do that.
Yeah.
But there's some other things that are barriers to our relationship building and that we need to unlearn and rewire.
Yeah.
Some of them are still, and I can't believe I still have to say this, that no, you can't just be excellent at your work. That is the par for the course.
Yes.
The standard
The minimum
is excellence.
Yeah, the minimum.
So being excellent and then talking about you just getting your check and you got to, that's not going to in whatever environment you're in, even if it's your own, help you develop the relationships that you need to move around. So that's one rewiring. Another thing is sometimes we get hung up on these buzzwords like networking, mentorship, sponsorship, relationship building, whatever these are, and we have this visceral response already to this thing that we feel is so performative.
Yes. Especially that networking and all that,
And I think, maybe it's because I'm a lawyer, but to me, that I don't get lost in the sauce. I know what's underneath it, and what's underneath that just means intentional relationship building. Okay, well, that even feels foreign, right? So how do we rewire that? Showing up. If you just fully show up in your regular life, that is the first way to rewire the way you think about personal relationships. So for example, when you go take the kids to soccer, do you always sit in the car? Every time? You run to the grocery store every time?
Yeah.
I'm not saying that we shouldn't do that. You need to
Every
go
now
sit.
and again, yes.
But sometimes we should probably go talk to the other parents for a second.
Somebody cringing. Somebody cringing.
Well, and here's the thing. Please don't everybody do this, because if everybody does this, then you're going to have all the opportunities taken away from those of us who understand the game.
Okay, look.
So stay in the car. I want some of them to stay in the car. There's more opportunity for everybody. Not really. I want us to get it. But here's the thing. Whatever is natural. I'm not saying go talk to the mom that you don't like.
Exactly.
What about the one that's cool? Can you at least say, hey?
Yeah.
And that is how we start rewiring our brain. Because first of all, when we come into needing a network, usually it's just that.
Yeah.
Now you got your hand out.
Yes. And nothing has been deposited. But it's interesting. My husband and I are just joking because when we leave the podcast studio today, we got to go to a swim meet and sit all night for my daughter, right? And we were like, we could sit in the car and take a nap. But we're going to have to get out at some point. One, we want to support her. But there are, as a mom of active children, I have made some connections, got some referrals, some business deals.
That's what I'm saying.
From the chit chat at the basketball game, right?
And that's not networking. I think that, again, going to the rewiring part, if that word is what's hanging you up,
let it go.
Call it rainbow. Call it something
Whatever
else.
You want, right?
Change your mind about what it is.
That's good.
And I'm not suggesting that you get out of the car all the time as a chore. I'm saying when you feel like it. When your hair is done that day. This is just a natural way of showing up. So often they believe that, not they, but some believe that it's fake. That talking to people is about small talk.
The schmoozing and all that.
I disagree with that.
Yeah. And I like the way you said there's still agency. And how you do that. You don't have to, it could be just the conversation in the bleachers. It could be the whatever that thing is for you. I even think about too, we've been doing on our corporate side a lot of work with like tech companies and engineers and things of the sort. And so we run into a lot of people who are a little bit more maybe introverted, analytical, just want to do the work.
Yes.
And they're seeing as they move up, because we work with people throughout the kind of career life cycle.
Yes.
Earlier in your career, and we think about this like in our early career program, it's really about skill mastery.
Yes.
But as you desire to move up in any type of, even if you're not a people manager, if you're more what I call an influence leader, you're doing cross-functional work across the organization. You may not have any direct reports, but you have to touch different people to do your work. Once you get to a certain level, your skills are a given because you couldn't have gotten there. The mastery is a given. And you might still need to jump in the weeds here and there, but it's really about influence.
That's it.
And so the exercise in your early career of learning, how do you small talk with the client before you get to the work? How do you small talk with your manager when you see them in the office? Even though that might be not what you want to do, you're really building foundation to be able to influence later. And if you desire to move up, you got to learn how to influence.
Well, because it is an absolute skill.
Yeah.
At a certain point. Now,
Yes.
are there some people who have a natural ability to connect faster? Yes, I
course.
think I do
Of
for
course. Of
both
course. Of
nature
course.
and nurture. And I do think you should lean into that
Yeah.
if that is, your gift in this area. But if it's not and you are a Black woman leading, then you need to see it as a skill that needs
Yeah.
to be developed
To be
and
developed.
cultivated the way you would anything else. But here's a funny thing. You talked about those skill building times and then the relationship payoff time.
Yeah.
When you're in those skill building times, if you keep even in sporadic touch, or even let's say you have a real good significant connection with somebody and you don't keep in touch at all other than liking their stuff on LinkedIn over the years.
Yeah.
When you reach back out to that person, it won't be usually that I knew them when. It will be I've known them since.
I've been watching what you're doing. I've been seeing, and there's a lot of people, because I'm very active on LinkedIn, that when I finally connect, like for example, people on the podcast, that I finally connect, I feel like I've known them. Like, girl, we
Yes.
went to lunch a few times. Girl, we
We
ain't
never
met.
been. Never been. But
met.
I'm picking up what you're putting down.
Yes.
And I'm paying attention. Again, it's the same thing about rewiring. How are we interfacing? Are you passively clicking LinkedIn?
Yeah.
Or are you posting only because you only want to talk about yourself and you're not
Yeah.
there to offer anything?
Yeah.
I mean, if
Yeah.
people that I follow take the time to draft an article that it's a 3-minute read, I actually can click into it, read it, and maybe say something, particularly to another
Yeah.
Black woman right now.
Yeah.
These are tiny deposits that pay off big, but I suggest that we do it not for the payoff,
Yeah.
but because we are in community.
Yeah, and the connection. And I mean, to that point, I think even some business opportunities, I'll get a lot of business opportunities from being engaged on LinkedIn,
Yes.
have come not from my own post, but from a quality comment under somebody else's stuff. A quality comment, which then led them to my page where I was
Absolutely.
just talking about we did this on site with
Yes.
a client. And then you got a DM like, I see you do team development work.
Yes.
Can I learn more about that? But I can look at the name and I know that I just commented on your
Yes.
thing 2 or 3 days ago, and that led you down a rabbit hole.
But how many of
Yeah.
even of my girlfriends right now would watch this and say, I saw that same article and meant to comment. I was going to comment. I meant, and it takes 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Gretchen Rubin is this really smart lawyer and writer, and she has the 1-minute rule. If it can be done in 1 minute, do it.
Do it.
I'm big on productivity and
Yeah.
efficacy. And so if it takes less than a minute, certainly you can engage right then, because
Yeah.
the odds of you busy Black woman
Child, you
leading
ain't
coming back.
to that stuff. Now, and keeping with the rewiring, you work and you teach law students
Yes.
about relationship building skills. What are the most common misconceptions or blind spots that you see that you think people have like completely wrong about building relationships?
I think I want to credit 2 of my mentors, Sam Woodhouse and John Lewis, with this concept of unintentional impressions. The impressions that you're giving unintentionally. It happens to all of us naturally with things that we're just not having spatial awareness of necessarily,
yeah.
right? But I think anytime you are not intentional, then by default, in definition, you are unintentional. So, for example, if you are not, if you are in a meeting and someone that you're trying to network with, maybe your boss, maybe somebody from a different department is presenting, and you didn't take the time to prepare ahead of time, and it shows, that could be an unintentional leak, an unintentional power leak right there, right? And that affects your relationship because now you have given a perception to someone. So do these things happen? Yes. Do we make mistakes?
We were
yes.
busy,
Sometimes you really are genuinely running late. It's not you're not habitually late. There's going to be things that happen. However, I think when we are not conscious of the environments we're in, the people we're about to see, what it takes to get there, we can have unintentional power leaks and that are damaging to the relationships and can stop a relationship before it even begins.
Yeah, the unintentional. I think that's something to really sit with. I've seen in a lot of my work, and I even think about some of my executive coaching clients, and I love that language, power links. It has been around maybe a lack of boundaries. And so the mistrust that people develop is about your judgment.
I'm so glad you said
so
judgment.
It's kind of like, I can't trust your judgment. And again, we're human. May have had flew off the handle about something, or, said something inappropriate, or whatever the case. But it has, the power leak was that, first of all, you weren't self-aware.
Right.
You didn't manage yourself in the moment.
Yep.
And so now there's been an observation about your judgment at your level of leadership. Is that what you're saying in here? That now I have filed that away as something that's going to negatively impact our relationship. And so that's why we impress on that emotional intelligence and the self-awareness, because a lot of times the judgment stuff is because we have a lack of self-control.
Yes.
So we just in there leading on folks
and not
talking.
paying attention. I mean, if somebody's gotten quiet, or if
Read
their
the
eyes have
room.
gotten
Yes.
big, or you pause yourself, And also, I think when you are a gracious person, people will also give you grace back.
They will.
So if you want to clean it up a little bit, I say it should be allowed. You should be able to do that.
It should be allowed. Absolutely.
Another one of the blind spots I think that some folks have are neglecting their relationships. And again, I think sometimes they don't even know they're doing it.
That's big.
I'll give you an example from my industry. I am a plaintiff's personal injury lawyer, right? So that means that I represent people that are injured through no fault of their own. Well, in our world, you can refer cases to other people.
Okay.
If somebody has referred you a case and you don't thank them for referring you a case, or maybe they've referred you now 3 or 4, and you don't even have the time to pick up the phone to say thank you for thank you for trusting my skills, right? Because that's how I do business.
Yeah.
And I don't think they mean to. I mean, I think
they're
they
busy.
think
They're going,
I did an excellent job.
Yeah.
You gave me the referral. I gave the person excellent service.
Yeah.
Which is the minimum.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. That's your job.
Which is the minimum. But I think now you have somebody, because there's many lawyers that practice in my area.
Yeah.
You could send this lawyer to many who would get a good results.
Yeah.
I think what differentiates me is the care that I'm going to give your loved one.
Yes.
Right? And the way that I'm going to treat them, and as well as the amazing results.
Yeah.
So it's easy for me. I don't even forget to call you and thank you. It's natural to me to do that. But I think that is a lost place.
Yes.
Because now you're like, well, I haven't even heard from this person. Did you even get the call?
Exactly. What was the loop closed? I got no feedback, so I'm gonna go on to somebody else.
And you're not even saying thank you after 4. These are all these things,
Yeah.
and so I think that's an unintentional slip and leak there as well.
Yeah, and I feel like that's an old school thing too, that maybe we've just got forgotten in the microwave moment. Like, I'm a stickler even with my kids. Like, if somebody gives you something, like an auntie send you $20 for your report card, I do not play that. Like, you're gonna call if it ever feels like at birthday parties, if it ever feels like it's supposed, or that's not what I wanted, I'm shutting it down.
Taken for granted.
We ain't eating cake.
No, I agree.
Because I think it's a character thing at a certain point. But I do think maybe as a society, we've gotten away from, that's kind of old school stuff, right? Of somebody send you a referral, you thank them. Somebody send them a little thank you note after your wedding, all this kind of thing. But I feel like we may have lost that a little bit.
In true Laura Knight's fashion, you just got to what I think is the heart of what we're talking about here, which is showing up. What are the standards? Who are you?
Who are you? And what's your value?
And do you only receive? Do you only make withdrawals? Yes. I think that's the thing about building relationships, is that I come to give. That is what I'm here for. So let's say you're going to a networking event. Everybody thinks, oh, you got to sit up here and small talk. I don't think I'm going to small talk. I think I'm going to go look for opportunities to help.
Yeah. That's good.
Literally.
Which is a service orientation.
Yes.
It's different.
Also, who says no to that?
Yeah.
It does not mean I have to take on a case for free. Like, let's not get dramatic with it. But what it means is a servant spirit. What if even
a resource I
maybe
could tell you about.
You can take it right out of my mouth.
Yes.
But if you're there and in the place, you are able to offer it. And I think that's what, if you go and rewire your brain to think that you're going to get something, and instead go to say, I'm here to offer something.
Yeah, what can I offer?
Yes.
It's a shift. It's a paradigm shift for sure. And I have a favorite saying, and those that's been with us in Black Women Leading, I say those who show up, go up. Like, sometimes showing up is half the battle, just being in the space.
Well, that's another leak, I think, when you talked about what are the things that we need to reframe. I've seen, even up close, how you want someone to come to your show.
Come on.
You want someone to buy your book.
Come on.
You want someone to repost your thing. Buy your kids candy bars and expensive popcorn.
Ooh, that doggone popcorn.
Woo, they killing me with that popcorn. So you take, you want somebody to show up for you and your kids, but then when it's that person's turn, when your friend is running for something and you like, well, it's raining.
Yeah.
And sometimes I think we have to show up.
It's the reciprocity. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a thing. It's definitely a thing. I want to ask you one last question before we transition to our seasons themes question, because I love these kind of real practical and tangible stories and things you've been giving us. But let's talk about a lot of Black women right now are navigating transition.
Yes.
Right, career transition. For the Black woman who is navigating a major career transition right now, maybe she's starting at a new firm, a new role, launching something. What do you think are the most important relationship moves that she needs to center on right now as she's stepping into this new opportunity?
I actually see that, Laura, as a two-part question. Okay. One immediately of preparation that goes to what you asked me about earlier. And what I mean by that is, if you're not in pivot right now, you still need to be assessing.
Yes.
Because of the times that we're in.
Yes.
So I don't care if you're an entrepreneur. You still need to assess your clients. Are they still going to support you in this day and time?
Yes.
Or is the price of gas going to impact whether they're going to be doing business with you, right? So I think this time requires all of us to pay attention. Okay, and do some self-assessment. So with that being said, everybody's in a pivot.
Everybody.
Or should
whether
be.
You know it or not.
And they're pivoting without you if you don't know, okay?
Yes.
With that being said, I think what needs to happen now is intentionality about where you're pivoting to. I'm hearing rumblings from some Black women leaders that they're worried about being able to stay in the organizations they're currently in. Whether there are political climates that have changed, whether they're now being considered as a DEI person just by their sheer identity and existence, and so now that's threatened. And also, again, because of changes in the economy. Well, where are you looking to pivot to? Is it a similar place where they still don't appreciate you? And when do we rise to this moment? When does this moment make a difference in the place and environment you choose to go to?
Yeah.
I think that's a big deal, right?
A big deal.
And as I mentioned to you, yes, I have turned my life that way, my professional life, to respond to this moment and to be there for Black women. That may not be everybody's calling at the level that it is for me.
Yeah.
However, you are not safe if you're not considering this on some level.
If you're not considering it, if you're not already thinking about what another opportunity could be, even if you don't plan to act on it right now. You have to be thinking about the plan B, C, D, and E.
That's correct.
Yeah.
And who are those people that are in those spaces, right? I think we need to, so the tools that we need to answer your question, what should we be doing right now?
Yeah.
I think first, again, is that self-assessment piece, and take the rose-colored glasses off.
Yeah.
We are not in the same time, and it scares me sometimes when I hear colleagues, other Black women that I love and admire and that are in every other way absolutely brilliant, but are not recognizing reality right now.
A little naive around things.
And this is safe where I am, and I just don't think that that's accurate right now.
Yeah.
And it worries me. So I think that the least you can be doing is starting the conversation.
Yeah.
Just wake up now before you need the relationship, right? Pay attention now. Now is a time to reach out. Now is a time to call the person you haven't spoken to in a while before you need it.
Before you need it. Yeah, I think that's critical. And that's something we all can do. That's something we all can do. So, our season 9 theme, nurturing and cultivating our relationships, we're right in the mix on that. But this is a question that I've been checking in with our guest experts about. Our theme, again, is about nurturing, cultivating these relationships, but not just with others, but with ourselves as well, personally and professionally.
Yes.
And so I love to ask you, because you've talked a little bit about your journey to pivot, what has cultivating a relationship with yourself looked like over the different seasons of life and leadership for you? Because different seasons, that looks different for us.
It does. I mean, when Layla, that's my daughter, was, growing up, the priority, of course, was her education.
Of course.
And so cultivating a relationship with myself at that time would be about what am I modeling? So I had a mirror to my face about what is the woman that I'm showing her to be? Who am I telling her that a Black woman is?
Yeah.
Girl, that takes up a lot of mental and emotional space, okay? So after I think about it, I got to lay back down again. Then once, right, because that means I have no days off from modeling. But also means being candid with her about, Mama ain't doing good right now.
Yeah.
I'm broke down today. Today's not a good day, or we ain't got it today, or whatever it is, right?
Yes.
So that was a phase of life. But now that she's a grown woman, grown and gone, and has a life of her own, and is looking to me to model in a different way. And so what I think that is what's the next level of Black womanhood at this stage, right? So that is some securities. That's making sure that your insurances, your documents, you know what I mean? Like all those things are in place. Adulting.
Yes.
Just having all that together, because I definitely use Layla as a foundation for everything that I do, you know. But as it pertains to relationships, I'm focused. I'm laser focused on my target group. You. Me. So I'm making sure that I'm spending time having these conversations and pouring into and showing up for other Black women. One of the things that I'm doing right now is trying to talk to other women who may be interested in the Atlanta area about coming to work with us at the law school. We're looking for some people who have a standard of excellence and that reflect our student body. Is this something you've been thinking about it for a while? Is this something how you'd like to pay it forward? Because whatever you thought, you've seen it all over social media, whatever you thought you'd be doing during slavery, civil rights, Reconstruction, or whatever it is what you're doing now, right? And it at least as it makes sense to 2026.
Yes.
And so I'm focusing that on my relationships. That's the prism and lens.
Yeah, I love it. And I think that the point you mentioned earlier about the self-reflection and all of that, it has a different focus point at different seasons. And I think the important thing is to take the time, just as we've talked about with the time with other people, also taking the time to cultivate that with ourselves.
Well, Laura, I don't know. I think I was this year old when I realized that I could put action behind thinking about myself. So remember I told you in the beginning of the conversation that it would be revolutionary if we would all consider ourselves that tiny thing. Now, because again, I have no encumbrances, the time from considering myself into actioning for myself is immediate. Right? And so what does that look like? Well, walking, crying when I need to, picking the people around me that I want to, saying no to a lot of things. I don't have to take, all money ain't good money. I don't have to, like I said, spend time with people I don't want to. It's that action piece. for myself. You know, I'm a big self-care person, sure, massages and all that, but I'm talking a little bit more about dedicated time to work on me. So for example, I love social media. I don't care what nobody say, I love it. But I've cultivated a feed that enriches me.
Yes.
That has you on there.
Yes.
And other people that are talking about some stuff I need to hear. Pump me up.
Yes.
Make me feel good about myself. Make me know that I'm not out here by myself.
Yeah. Because if I'm going to be on there, at least let it be nurturing and feeding me.
Yes. And I'm not necessarily looking all the time. It's audio, you know, with things. But what are we feeding ourselves? What are we listening to? What are we reading?
Yeah.
That is influencing who we are.
I love it.
And then actioning on that.
I love it. Last question. One thing you want every Black woman listening to walk away with regarding rewiring how she thinks about relationships after listening to this conversation?
Whatever you're giving is what you will receive. As it pertains to relationships.
Yeah.
Some people are very closed because they think you can't trust everybody, right? Is that true? Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, it's a trauma response.
It
for
is
a lot
a
of people.
trauma response. And I think we have to rewire that. Are you trustworthy?
Yes.
Because if you are trustworthy, then go ahead and just trust a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Be a little bit vulnerable. But if you are guarded and not trusting, I can guarantee your results in that relationship.
Yes. Yes. So you want a friend, be a friend, right?
It's as simple as that. But it's in the small, really, like paying attention to your actions. Because it's like, you know, is it taking up a lot of extra space or saying excuse me to someone? I mean, it's in our small behaviors. Like, for example, Laura, who are the people that race you to the red light only to stop right there? Like, this is a way of being.
A way of being.
This is a way of being. So I want to rewire. How do you be?
How do you be? And that's back to that showing up. Back to the showing up. This has been really good.
I have thoroughly enjoyed
really
you.
Good. How can people connect with you?
Yes.
Is there anything special you have going on that people should know about?
Yes. So as I mentioned to you, am a catastrophic personal injury attorney. What does that mean? That means if anybody's ever hurt for any reason, call me.
Yeah.
I practice in a very ethical way, and I think we can do well and do good at the same time.
Yes.
So if anybody is ever hurt in Georgia, please know that you can call me. As it relates to the topics that we're talking about, I'm sometimes asked to come and speak to different groups. And so certainly I'm open to that as well. And then just genuine relationship building, as I said, you know, hit me up on LinkedIn or any of the social media platforms. And I'd like to just build a virtual relationship. I'm here to offer my services.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I hope you all have taken something valuable away from our conversation today. I know I did. If this was helpful to you, meaningful to you in any way, share this episode with your network, with your friends, your family, your sisters, all of that, so we can amplify these conversations that we're having about us and our wellness and our future and us improving, right, the quality of our lives. The Black Woman Leading podcast is on all streaming platforms. You can also listen on our website, blackwomanleading.com, and also you can watch full episodes on the Black Woman Leading YouTube channel. If you'd like to connect with us, we are at Black Woman Leading, and woman is singular, and we are on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and LinkedIn. If you'd like to connect with me personally, I'm at Laura E. Knights, and you can catch me most active on LinkedIn, but I'm also over there on those Instagram streets as well. And if you'd like to learn about the Black Woman Leading programs, of course, check out our website at blackwomanleading.com. Finally, if you're interested in learning about the work we do inside of organizations to help them strengthen their leaders and teams, you can check out our corporate site at knightsconsultinggroup.com. We love to connect with you in any of these ways. And until next time, be well.
Keep on here.